Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Prevent Plagiarism Day, Tony. Have you ever plagiarized anything?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. It's National Prevent Plagiarism Day, Wilbon. Have you ever plagiarized anything?
No.
That's a clever beginning.
I have not.
It's a clever beginning.
Ever plagiarized or
That's-
even been accused of plagiarizing anything? No.
That's the cardinal sin.
Yeah, it is.
That's cardinal sin in newspapers.
In our world,
it is. And we both know people who have done it.
Yeah, we do.
No,
We do.
not good, kids. Not good. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, baseball considers a salary cap. Soccer steps into single-digit temperatures tonight, and Kendrick Perkins joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the college football playoff and a report that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to confer on a plan where they would each get 4 guaranteed slots in an expanded playoff of 14 or 16 teams. This would start the year after this year. Wilbon, the Big Ten is your account.
Yeah.
Is this deserved given the status of the Big Ten and the SEC, or would this take too much out of the unexpected in college football?
My focus is entirely somewhere else. It leads toward the ruination of what I appreciate about college football. Having followed it all my life, having covered it half my life, I hate what this is doing. And yes, I'm a trustee at a university in one of those conferences that is at the big kid table, okay? It's the golden child table to be in the Big Ten or the SEC, and I'm grateful for that. But now I'm sure I'm gonna make people who deal with me in the Big Ten cringe. Tony, I don't like exclusion when it comes to sport. I want inclusion. And when you cut out fan bases, you cut out regions of the country, not just conferences, because you can absorb those teams under another umbrella. I get that. The USC and UCLA and Washington and Oregon can be in the Big Ten, and you sort of don't exclude, but you do exclude. You exclude rivalries. You eliminate them. You chop down when you do this a big part of what college football really is, and I find it loathsome. So I'm not going to deal with whether it's deserved. I don't know. It distracts in a major way from college football to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna deal with the question because I don't have that allegiance that you have. Where I went to school, didn't even have a football team. So I've come to college football late in my life. I want to dispel the notion that there's anything unexpected in college football. By week 5 or week 6, everybody knows who the good teams are. This isn't Hoosiers, okay? Every once in a while, a little engine that could team comes around. Like last year, Boise State and Indiana, they got their doors blown off in the playoffs. It did not work at all. In terms of whether or not the SEC and the Big Ten should get all these seats at the table, let's look back at the Final Four in this most recent season. So there's Penn State, there's Ohio State, there's Texas, and there's Notre Dame. There's 3 teams from these big conferences, and Notre Dame, which would be, as you well know, the #1 draft choice for each of those conferences if Notre Dame ever said, we're in full time. We're going to go full time with a conference. So I don't mind it. I think it's a reasonable thing to do. But much like you, I think 12 teams proved that was too many teams because there were routes in the first round, routes in the second round, and we are helpless here.
One of those teams you mentioned that got their doors blown off, who you're hinting didn't deserve to be there, is a Big Ten team. Indiana's in the Big Ten.
Indiana.
So no, you need
That's
more.
right.
Let's move to baseball, where Commissioner Rob Manfred says that payroll disparity is at the top of his list of concerns. The Dodgers are spending far more than any other team, but Manfred said they're just doing what the system allows. And he added, quote, if I'm going to be critical of somebody, it's going to be the system, close quote. Some owners are pushing for a salary cap. Sean, would you like to see a cap, or do you like it when one team has the ability to outspend the others?
All right, so if you put the question that way, I'm going to say I would like to see a salary cap in baseball. I like baseball. I like competitive balance. At least theoretically, a salary cap could give you that. But the players are not going to voluntarily go for a salary cap, because if you have a salary cap, Mike, you don't get a Juan Soto contract. And every single person in the major leagues is hoping that they get hit by lightning and that they get that miracle contract as well. So the players are not. They're just simply not going to give that up. This is a question about the Dodgers. Does the Dodgers spending bother us to such a degree that we want to do away with it? It's not just the Dodgers. It's the Yankees over the years. It's the Red Sox.
The Mets.
It's the Phillies. It's the Cubs. It's the Padres. It's the Mets. It's the Houston sometimes. It's even the Texas Rangers sometimes. And that's the group that wins the World Series. And it suggests a correlation between spending a lot of money and winning. That the correlation's there. Occasionally it's not that way. Kansas City won the World Series in 2015. Milwaukee gets into the playoffs every year. Tampa Bay, I think, made the World Series a couple of times. But mostly, Mike, the teams that spend the most money get in. The NBA starts back up tonight, which makes it a perfect time for a visit with our great friend from NBA Today, ESPN's NBA analyst, Kendrick Perkins. Perk, let's start with this. The Lakers are back on the court tonight, hosting the Hornets. Maybe it's not much of a game. I don't know. Obviously, they have Luka and they have LeBron. But how big of a blow is it to the Lakers that they don't have Mark Williams?
Oh, it's a huge blow because, look, this Laker team with LeBron and Luka are not just not here just to win a regular season game against the Hornets. Hell, it's not just to even get into the postseason. This is a organization that are built on championships. And in order to win a championship, you got to have a legit big in that middle that's going to anchor the defense and be a lob threat at the rim for Luka and LeBron. We saw last year with the Dallas Mavericks how much success Luka had with two legit lob threats in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. Right now, it's a reason why I have the Lakers ceilings at the conference finals, and that's pushing it, is because the lack of interior presence that they have.
Kendrick, let's zero in for a second on LeBron James, who missed his first All-Star game in 20 years. And I wondered what you thought of that and, in general, the All-Star format. What did you think of All-Star Sunday?
Well, when it comes down to Braun, am I mad at Braun at the age of 40 for missing the All-Star game because he has some, ankles and feet injury? No, I'm not mad at that. It's not what he did, it's how he did it. I felt like he could have gave the league and everybody earlier notice that he wasn't going to be participating. That way they could have had somebody else fill in for him, like a guy like Norman Powell, who's balling right now for the Clippers and who is deserving to be an all-star. Now, when I look at the format, was it perfect? Absolutely not. Did I want to see Kevin Hart out there telling jokes for an hour and a half? Absolutely not. Did I want to see the TNT crew dressed up in life jackets with fishing poles? Absolutely not. But I will say it was an appetizer for us. And I wasn't mad because guys actually went out there and competed higher than what they did the last 2 to 3 years. Guys, those OGs were not going to lose to the rising stars, right? We saw the rising stars bring out the competitive spirit out of them on the defensive side of things. So is it things that they could fix? Absolutely. But it's just the start. We have to remember the All-Star game has been at the bottom. The only way it could go is up.
Tony, I think we should nominate Perk as like the commissioner of All-Star improvement. I think that would do it right there. Perk could get to the center of it. Let me ask you we want to know about the Warriors and Draymond saying that his Dubs could win the title this year. I love it as a talking point, Perk, but is it realistic? Does Draymond, you think, really believe that, or is he trying to rally his guys with this now, the bell lap in the final third of the season at hand?
I honestly believe that Draymond Green, he does believe that the Warriors could win the championship. But that doesn't mean he's speaking the gospel, because I don't believe they could win the championship. Matter of fact, I know they're not going to win the championship. Their ceiling is a first-round exit. Now, shout out to Joe Lacob and shout out to Mike Dunleavy, because what they have done by getting Jimmy Butler was give Draymond Green and Steph Curry joy and belief again, right? Because we have to remember this. Over this past season, it's times we look at that bench and we saw defeat on Steph Curry's face.
Yep.
I mean, he had one foot in the grave and the other on the banana peel. That's how defeated he was. He was ready to tap out. Now Jimmy comes and he has given them life. So should Draymond Green believe that they could win a championship? Absolutely. Do I believe that they're going to win a championship? Hell no. And last thing, I wish the Oklahoma City Thunder would speak out like this and say, hey, you know what? We're actually trying to go win a championship instead of saying we're just trying to improve and take it day by day. I love it when the guy speaks out and he speaks out for his team goals. That's what Draymond's supposed to say.
Well said. Well said about that. We'll get you out of here on this. And as Mike said, we're entering the bell lap now. However many games are left, they all matter for a change. Which teams in each conference, if you don't have Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, who do you have in the Western Conference Finals? Who do you have in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, in the East, I got the defending champs until somebody else showed me otherwise. There's no way I could go against them, and I know Cleveland is balling. The Knicks are going to get Mitchell Robinson back. The Bucks, they did some great moves at the trade deadline, bringing in Kyle Kuzma as a third option and bringing Kevin Porter Jr. in as a guy to come in off the bench. But they still got to show me they could beat the best starting five in basketball, which is the Boston Celtics. Now, in the West, I'm going with the team that's number one. I'm going with Oklahoma City Thunder. They check all boxes. If you want a guy that could be the best player against any other superstar in the league in a 7-game series, you have that in SGA. If you want the bigs to anchor your defense, you have that in Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, who I believe is the white Kevin Garnett. You have perimeter shooting in Isaiah Joe and the kid Aaron Wiggins. You have a bona fide second option in Jalen Williams, who could carry his weight and average 20 to 25 in the series. So when you look at it, it's a reason that they're number one defensively in the NBA is because those guys slide their puppies. That team is real. And last but not least, having home court advantage in the city of Oklahoma, in that arena, that does wonders for a young group. I'm telling you, I played in that arena. That crowd is electrifying, and it's a hard place to win in, especially in the postseason.